All right, hi guys, welcome back to another BYOB live stream. So, guys, please say hi in the chat if you can hear us, so we know that we're not just talking to ourselves. As much as we like to do that, we we just want to make sure that you guys can hear. So please say hi. I know you're joining now. The countdown is always really interesting. It's like really dramatic on our screens. So we just want to make sure everything's working. Before we get started, I just want to introduce Pearl. So Pearl is the retail and e-commerce advisor at China Britain Business Council. Pearl, do you want to give our audience a quick introduction of yourself?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you so much, Arnold. It's my pleasure to join the BYOB event this afternoon. And hello, everyone. My name is Pearl, and I'm the sector lead for retail and e-commerce here in CBBC. From my day-to-day work, that my main responsibility is to advising international business on Chinese market entry strategy, as well as the digital and the marketing strategy. I joined the CBBC at the March of last year, and before that, I worked in one of the largest media investment companies in China, but spent my time in London with focus on entertainment integration, brand partnership, and IP collaborations. So I work with lots of international brands and helping them to establish themselves in Chinese market. So that's me.
Awesome. Thanks for the introduction. So, guys, I just want to say hi to everyone. Julian, hi. Tell us where you're from. Tell us where you're tuning in from. We got a poll going on right now, and it's always really cool to see where everyone's tuning in from because it's like morning for you, or it's afternoon, or it's evening. Julie from Belgium, hello. Sarah from Leeds, oh, exotic. Sergey from China, hello, everyone. Really great. John, hi.
Hello.
Sarah, hello. Eska, Kylie from London. Paul, okay, cool. So most of you are from the UK, some from Europe. We've got 56% from UK, 21% from Europe, 2%, 1% from USA. Hero, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, I'm wondering what time? What time in USA now? Are you in East Coast or West Coast?
Who is that from the US? Speak up. Someone from Asia? 8 people. Wow. This is awesome. Nick, iClick. Hi, Nick. Welcome to the live stream. Filippo, Italy. Oh, cool. Tuning in from Italy. Nice to meet you, Filippo. Welcome to the live stream. Okay, cool. So it looks like most of you from UK, 2 people from the rest of the world. I'm wondering, anyone tuning in from China? It's not super late in China. I think it's like, what, 9 p.m. at the moment? Yeah, just gone past 9 p.m. Oh, awesome. We got someone from Shanghai. Aaron, hi. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the stream. From Dubai as well. Frederick, welcome. Welcome from Dubai. Someone French in Thailand. Wow.
Wow.
Welcome to the stream. Okay, so guys, today we're going to be talking about Chinese New Year. And before we get started, we got a few other polls. We just want to get an understanding of your experience of Chinese New Year and how much you know about China, so we can phrase our conversation around those, around people's base knowledge. So first poll, we always ask some of these polls, so some of you regulars probably familiar with them already. Have you been to China? Yes or no? I think this makes a big difference, right, Pearl? Because I think Chinese New Year in China is very different to Chinese New Year outside of China. What do you think, Pearl?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to share something very funny, like in the later conversation, because well, I'm originally from Beijing, but I have been spent a third of my life in London. So I do feel like the way that we spend Chinese New Year in London and in Beijing are quite different, actually.
Yeah,
What about you?
it's same for me. I think we can talk about this a bit more later, but I think the Chinese New Year that I grew up with is very different to the Chinese New Year now. For better or for worse, it's just very different. So 71% of you have been to China and 29% of you haven't. It's interesting. We'll make sure that we phrase our conversation and create some background and context for anyone that hasn't been to China. The next one is business. Are you currently doing business in China? Yes or no? The poll should be popping up right now. Best is red envelopes. Yeah, the red envelopes are awesome. But when you have to give them out, so I believe, Pearl, the tradition is like when you get married and have kids, that's when you have to start giving them out, right?
Yes, I think so. But I think this is a different from family to family. I think it's in my family that it really doesn't matter that if you get married or having child, that you always receive the red envelope from the senior people, which is very nice.
Yeah, it's great. But when do you have to give it out?
Um,
Is there no rule? It's just
no,
kind of like,
as I guess as long as that you start making money and
as
you
long
need
as
to
you
think of giving.
as you can start affording giving them out, that's fair enough. Okay, even it's pretty much 50-50 on whether you're doing business in China or not. So those that are doing, welcome. I hope you can learn a lot from us today. And those who are not, you need to be looking at China. I guess that's why you guys are here. The next poll is about food. We always need a poll about food because I love food and food is a massive part of the Chinese culture. So what do you guys think is the most what do you guys think is traditionally eaten on Chinese New Year? We got fried chicken, mooncakes, dumplings, and, and
Dragon meat.
dragon meat. Come on, guys, who selected fried chicken? I feel like you're pulling our leg. Rice cakes in Korea. Oh, cool. Are you Korean, Minso? Welcome to the stream. Cool. Wow. I really want to go to Korea, but a certain virus has put an end to that this year, unfortunately. What else do you guys eat on Chinese New Year?
Hot pot. Anyone eat hot pot?
Hot pot of Chinese New Year is a thing, I guess, anytime, right? Okay, cool. One sec. Hold on a sec. Apparently my mic is really quiet, so I'm just going to turn up the volume a little bit. Is that better, guys? Better? Better?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Great. Good stuff. Okay, cool. So dumplings is traditionally eaten on Chinese New Year, but I think any type of group activity food, like Chinese food, is very much about gathering and getting together. And dumplings for me is like the best because you get together, you prepare everything together, you wrap the dumplings together and you eat together. It's like a very collective kind of like food. I think hot pot is the same. You mentioned earlier, Pearl, and some other people as well in the chat. So yeah, that's the food poll. It's normally dumplings. Mooncakes is for Chinese Moon Festival, which is normally in
September.
September. Yeah, it changes depending on the Chinese calendar. Okay, so we got two more polls. The first one is, have you prepared anything for Chinese New Year? And this is to do with your business. So if you're tuning in and you're interested in business in China, let us know whether you prepared anything, yes or no. It's not too late. It's a little bit too late, but it's not too late. So that's why we're here at this live stream to talk about what you can still do last minute. And I'm glad to see that 22% of you have, 21%. A lot of you haven't prepared anything, and I guess that's why we're doing this live stream.
Yeah, and I hope today's session will give you some last minute inspirations and help you to nail down the Chinese New Year in 2021. Yeah.
Mayim, sister has been to China and talks about golden ducks. Golden ducks? What are golden ducks? Do you know what that is, Pearl?
Is it like Beijing roasted duck?
Maybe. I love ducks, so I'm willing to try that, whatever that is. Why don't you guys tell us in chat what you've eaten on Chinese New Year and what your favorite was that you've eaten, the food you have had during Chinese New Year. Okay, the final poll: what zodiac animal is 2021? Coming up on your screen right now. Yes, come on, guys, you're smashing this. 90% ox. Few rat. Rat, I think, was a couple of years ago. Horse.
Was last
snake.
year.
Last year. Rat was last year?
Well, literally this year. We're still
yeah, we are currently rat, of course. Horse. Is snake even a zodiac animal? Is this a trick question? I can't remember.
Yes, it is.
It
I
is,
think I
okay.
think it's funny that well, even as a native Chinese speaker, that every time that we're talking about these animals, that I have to really start it from the very beginning.
Yeah, it's hard to it's hard to remember. Yeah, right in 2022. That's good. You're right, 100%. Still not Ox here yet. Yes, you're right, Shirley. Ox is very soon. Okay, cool. So that's all the polls, guys, and we want to get on to the event. So there's 3 sections in the event. The first section is just kind of like a casual chat. We want to have a chat with you guys about Chinese New Year from a Chinese perspective. As we said at the start of the stream, it's very different. I think the way that Chinese New Year sets up outside of China and inside China is very different. You don't get the same kind of like 热闹 or like hustle and bustle in English feeling that you get outside of China. So we just want to kind of discuss that. First one is more focused on culture, first part. And the second part is a preview of some of the previous marketing campaigns. For those of you that joined on our previous live streams, we went through mostly videos, but this time we're going to go through a few other different executions outside of videos as well. And then the final part, most exciting one, and the one that I'm most nervous about, is that we're going to actually try to build a last minute campaign live with you guys. So I would like you guys to start thinking about a brand, ideally your brand. It can be any brand. Basically try and create a brief for us to build a Chinese New Year campaign from. So you can start thinking now, and then when we come to part 3, you can type it in the chat, and then we'll pick one that we brainstorm with all of you guys and to build a campaign from. I guess it can be anything. We can take inspiration from part 1 and part 2 on how we execute that. So let's start talking about Chinese New Year, the essence of Chinese New Year. So I'll get us started. For me, the essence of Chinese New Year, I think like a lot of many festivals around the world has always been about bringing families together, right? Like whether it's Christmas, Chinese New Year, more than any other festival is super focused on the kind of togetherness. I'm really interested, you guys, to hear your stories in the chat of Chinese New Year. Like, what do you remember? So a lot of you have said you experienced Chinese New Year in China. I would really love to hear what you remember, what your fondest memories of Chinese New Year are. And I would like to ask you, Pearl, first, actually, because you spent obviously a lot of time in China. What do you think is the essence of CNY, and what were your like fondest memories of Chinese New Year?
Well, I think well, simple question always difficult. I think as a Chinese, I mean, the Chinese New Year is definitely essential of my life. It probably a date that more important than my own birthday in the calendar. And it's of course, I mean, means the family reunion, like togetherness. I think personally, I think it also means a time that you can get some of the social contacts. I'm not sure that if everyone have heard that there's actually a really popular a joke that around Chinese New Year. It's about saying that it really doesn't matter that if you are Amanda or Ada or Emily, if you work in a fancy like offices in Shanghai or in Beijing, that when you on board of the train that back to home for Chinese New Year, you are just you. So I think well, China is a very work-driven country, and like Chinese New Year is one of the very rare occasions that well, I can forget about my job, I can forget about my clients, I can just like spend some time with my family and my friend and be myself. So I think this means a lot for me, I mean, for the Chinese New Year. But on the other hand, I think there are some like social pressures that can be exaggerated, like for Chinese New Year, especially for girls. It's hilarious that I always hear this like classic like drinking toast in Chinese New Year dinner. That's like my auntie or uncle saying that say to me when they drinking, saying that, oh, when can I like drink at your like wedding banquet? Yeah, that sort of thing. So I think yeah, I think well, Chinese New Year is important, but it's a little bit like a mixed feeling for me.
So, so it's almost kind of like a really nice mixture of of meeting the family and seeing them, haven't seen them for a long time and being together with them, but also like the pressure of like the societal pressures that I think everyone faces, but more so in China, especially women in China, about like getting married and starting families and having kids. I think, I think, I think that's really interesting that you get that, because I think I kind of get that as well, but I'm sure it's not kind of on the same level. But for me, it's always been about. I remember actually when I was a kid. So I grew up in China until I was 9 years old, and I came to UK. But the thing I missed the most, I think, was just like the absolute. It's like I think we said it in the Barcelona video, right? Like the absolute chaos of preparation. Like when people are just coming over to your families, like every now and then, just the day before and kind of throughout the Chinese New Year, you would get like people would knock on your door. You get like doorbells ringing all the time. People coming over, like families in groups of like their whole families. Because we used to always go to our grandparents' home, and then there everyone would meet. That's kind of like like the base camp where everyone would congregate. And honestly, like the door would ring like every like couple of hours, and people come over, visit, like eat snacks and chat and talk about stuff. And it was just like, it was like, honestly, like that part of it was like the best feeling for me. It was just like seeing loads of different people being like so hustle and bustle and so 热闹, we always say in Chinese. And I think I said this last time as well. I remember like we used to always stay up all night, like playing with the kids, and the parents would be like playing mahjong, and we'll go out and play with fireworks in the morning, and there was just like so much happening, and that's what I kind of miss. And someone actually said on here, who was he said that Yilin, noisy fireworks, they're no longer allowed in the city. I think unfortunately, and I said this before, with the progress, like economic progress and modernity, a lot of the tradition has been lost. Like the fireworks, people going home less, maybe people seeing each other less during Chinese New Year. Frederick, line dance, going inside the office to bring good fortune. Loads of parties at work. That's really cool. Like I've never really experienced parties at work, but I'm guessing that happens a lot more in China than he does over here. Invited by the chairman in his home for the big evening. That's really cool. That's really cool. Shirley, red packets, Spring Festival Gala, fireworks, and now Alipay Fire Fortune. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Alipay campaign later. A lot of you actually said red color as well. Marie, Julie. So red color is interesting. We can talk about red color later in the campaigns, because red is traditionally obviously Chinese New Year color, but I think nowadays we can be a bit more creative what we associate with Chinese New Year, combining kind of modernity but also not losing traditional values either. Kaylee, new clothes, something in red, fireworks, food, family. Food, yes, family. Drinking games, so true. Drinking games, drinking raws to come figure out the raws. Mayam, Chinese New Year is also celebrated at the Department of Chinese Studies at University of Tehran, Iran, and it was in the cultural house that opened the public in 2019. Line dancing, yeah. So a lot of places around the world celebrate Chinese New Year as a community, and now Chinatown does it a lot. There's loads of like sometimes I think a few years they always have banquets on the street as well, which was really cool. I think we had one a couple of years ago. That was really awesome. Arnold, I still remember the 800 dumpling day at the Qumin office. Oh, John, hey, welcome. You were there, I remember. So we still do that. Like, I think this year we had only like 400 dumplings because of the lockdown. Only 400. There wasn't that many of us in the office. Happy New Year, Mohammed. Welcome to the live stream. So, Pearl, do you have any stories of Chinese New Year? Like when you were younger, or like anything that's interesting, or kind of give us an insight into what Chinese New Year is like for someone Chinese in China?
Yeah, well, when you ask me this question, and I'm naturally think of the food, because I think the food lies at the heart of my Chinese New Year memory. Well, I remember that when I was little, and the Chinese New Year Eve dinner were always like homemade, and the kitchen couldn't be more hectic that day. As a child, that it's hilarious that my cousin and I are being told that not to eat too much during the day, that you got to save yourself for the evening for the evening feast. And I think for And I come from Beijing, so as a northern people, that well, dumpling means quite a lot for me. And I think in recent years that when I back to home for Chinese New Year, that I seen that my family and also my friends' family that we have started like order like catering and food deliveries from restaurants for the Chinese New Year Eve dinner, because which means that we no longer cook the food on our own. But we insist, well, at least in my family, that we insist the dumplings have to be homemade. So I remember that it was back to 2011 that when I had my first Chinese New Year here in London, actually, and I haven't got a clue of how like Chinese New Year gonna looks like here in London. So I think I wasn't in a rush, like doing shopping. So I only went to the Chinatown in the very last minute and hoping to get some like Chinese like chives and dumpling wrappers to make a dumplings. And then I was shocked that everything is sold out. There's literally nothing left for us. So I ended up for that year eating Korean kimchi dumplings. So that reminds me that how much that I miss the homemade dumplings. I think for me that this no Chinese New Year is completed until you have homemade dumplings, and ideally like 3 times during the whole Chinese New Year period.
It's so true. It's so true. Because you can like, you have it first when it's freshly made and boiled, and then you have it fried, and then maybe the next day, maybe you have a few snacks of them cold in the fridge and just take it out of the plate and just put it in your mouth straight out of the fridge. Like honestly, dumpling is like nice every single way you eat it. It's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's always like, so when you talk about the feast earlier, it's the tradition is like you have dumplings and then you have a separate meal where it's like loads of dishes, right?
Yes.
Where the parents like cook not just any single set. It's like everyone comes together and cooks together, and they'll do loads of dishes that they've probably prepared even a couple of days in advance, right? You know what Chinese food is like. Sometimes it takes a day to prepare, a day to rest, and then the next day you eat it. So it's like again, I think really, and in terms of like marketing campaigns, I think too many campaigns focus on the Chinese New Year celebration itself and not enough on the preparation, because the preparation is what Chinese New Year is all about. It's less about the celebration. Like people always say, it's like the journey and less the destination, right? So for me, this is something that you guys can really use as a takeaway. Think about what the preparation is, because that's what people remember. Like it's always a lead up. It's not the climax, right? It's always a lead up that people remember. So think about that if you want to connect with your audience on a far more meaningful way than just like saying Happy New Year or just talking about Chinese New Year. Kind of like how it affects people and the preparation that leads up to Chinese New Year. So guys, we want to move on to, so check out the Barcelona campaign below. It's a pop-up on your screen. So this is where you can read kind of like the creative rationale we put in here about why this video was made and how it's been focused on the preparation. Like honestly, that screenshot is so funny. It reminds me of when I was a kid, just being like barely tall enough to see like massive plate of dumplings on the table and just walking around. Like everyone ignores the kids because people are all busy talking, like chatting, catching up or cooking. So the kids just go around and like play by themselves and go out and play hide and seek and stuff. It was a really awesome time. Would anyone still put coin inside dumplings when they make it, Faye? I don't know.
Pearl, yes. Yes, this is a traditional. I'm not sure if this is a nationwide tradition, but this is definitely a very like funny thing that in northern China, that we tend to like hide a coin in the dumplings, and people who get it, and you mean to be lucky and have a good fortune in the new year.
We've never actually had that. Is it specific to different parts of China or?
I'm not sure. Maybe northern China, but this is definitely something that we did in the old good days.
Yeah, maybe. I can't remember if we had it or not. Maybe we had it. I just never got it. I'm clearly not lucky enough. Julie, anyone has a good dumpling recipe? There are loads of good dumpling recipes on YouTube actually, and I can't remember. I think we had a dumpling recipe somewhere. We'll check it out and we'll let you know if we can find it, and we'll share it. Okay, cool. Let's move on to. Does anyone have any questions about China? Actually, sorry. Before I move on, anyone have any questions about Chinese New Year? Like any specific, like cultural, how Chinese New Year is celebrated? We'll be happy to answer them now. I'll give it a minute for you guys to think about that while we start to move on to the next section. So, okay, so the next section is focusing on marketing campaigns. And we want to start by talking. We want to start with a poll, another poll. I know you guys love polls. So, have you received the red envelope? Yes or no? Poll coming up on your screen right now. I have received loads of red envelopes, and they're awesome. My parents still gives me one now, even though I'm really old.
But you are the lucky one. I miss the feeling that I received the physical red envelope and the physical banknote. I still remember that because recently, well, since the WeChat launched the digital red envelope, that I started like have the my digital currency. But I still remember that's one of the sweet memories that when you were little and you receive lots of physical red envelope and you counting the banknote before you hand in the bank of parents.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So this is actually a really interesting insight, guys. For you, those of you who don't experience or haven't grown up in China, you get red envelopes as a kid. Obviously, you get a lot of red envelopes, and they always have like brand new banknotes inside, like really spanking crisp new notes, right? And you're right. Like we really miss the tactile feeling of like new money and the notes and the smell. But what you said was really interesting is that you hand it over to your parents. Like I was the same when I was a kid. Whenever I get a red envelope, I just hand the money straight to my parents. And then they give it to obviously the other family's kids. And it's all like an exchange, right?
Yes, and I think my parents always promised me that well this money is saving for me, and now that I haven't like take out any of my like Chinese New Year deposit, and I'm wondering that do I get any interest?
Yeah, where's my Chinese New Year money from the last 30 years? I think they'll say, well, how do you think we feed you? Okay, cool. Let's check out some of the comments, guys. I know a lot of you are talking about it. So Julie, by the way, wants a good dumpling. Oh, sorry, I've already read that. We said before, don't forget that instead of simply wishing a happy new year. Sorry, what do you mean by that, Frederick? Don't forget that instead of simply wishing a happy new year. Beatrice, only in WeChat. Yeah, I know. Like I was just saying earlier, we miss the feeling. Like everything's digital these days, but it's not the same. Louisa, yes, I think you can. Yeah, you're supposed to only put money in red envelopes, right, Pearl? It's kind of like a disappointment if you open it and there's like a voucher or something. Like,
yeah, but this is another story for brand. If you do that, if you leverage a red envelope for your campaign, that we would be happy to receive some vouchers.
As long as it's equivalent to money.
Yes.
Rather than just like a Happy New Year message or something, please don't put that in a red envelope. No one wants that. How would you differentiate white celebration in Beijing within Shenzhen? That's a good question, Uska. What would you say, Pearl? Celebrations, Beijing and Shenzhen, differences? I think in the south, it's less of a dumpling tradition, right?
Well, this question got me because I don't have much experience in southern of China, but I guess.
Tongyuan, yes, Tongyuan. Yinling just said something. Yeah, I know this actually. Yeah, so I guess Shanghai is kind of counted as south. Do you guys not eat dumplings, Yilin?
Well, I think in Shanghai or in some areas like in Zhejiang or Jiangsu that you eat like kind of egg dumplings, like fried egg dumplings, 蛋饺.
蛋饺是什么? What's 蛋饺? Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
Well, I only learned 蛋饺. Okay, yeah, I only learn this like when I was in uni, and I have some like classmates that from southern of China, and I was so shocked because I saw dumpling is something that we eat nationwide.
What is 蛋饺? How do you make it?
It seems that you make dumplings with egg white and you fry it in a little pan.
You put wait. Hold on a sec. Chinese egg dumplings. Oh my god, this is crazy. I can't believe I never had this. Well, where have I been my whole life? This is we need to this is really interesting. So okay, so that's really interesting. I think that's a really good point that you guys have raised as well. That depending on what audience you're trying to connect with, it might be useful to think about what the local tradition is for Chinese New Year. Especially, there's clearly difference between North China and South China, but there might even be difference between different provinces. So you always want to be hyper relevant and hyper local, right? If you're trying to create a marketing campaign, rather than doing something generic, try and really think about who you're talking specifically and how you can resonate with them. Like if you said, for example, if you had like a campaign about dumplings generically, some people, like a lot of people in China would resonate. But if you were trying to connect, like let's say you're like a hotel brand, or let's say you're like I don't know, like an entertainment brand that's focused mainly on in Shanghai or South China, and you talked about like Tangyuan and Danjiao, you're going to resonate a lot more, and they will connect and respect you a lot more for understanding that. And that's why we always say everything starts with people and cultures. So that's great. Thanks, guys, for that. Eileen, especially, thanks for that information. Really, really interesting. Miranda, the people in the south also eat year cakes. Oh, Niangao. Niangao, I think we have in the north as well, right, Pearl?
Yes.
Yeah, Niangao. I remember Niangao. They're nice, like sweet. Do people have at least savory in different parts of China? I think so.
I'm not sure that if this year cake niangao means that the sticky rice, like a babao fan that people eat in Shanghai.
Oh, babao fan. We have babao fan as well. It's really nice, like sticky sweet. Niangao is like it's like those sticks. It's like mashed up rice flour, like in like little strips. Really nice. I really like those as well. Dominic, Frederick, I think it was saying that the preparation for Chinese New Year, preparing the food, etc., is more important than the actual celebration itself. And often campaigns for, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Dominic. Okay, cool. So, Miley, yes, Tangyuan. In the morning of the first day, we also make 粽子. 粽子是新年吃的吗? Is it Chinese New Year?
The 粽子 for Dragon Ball Day.
Yeah, Dragon Ball. Yeah. Which is after Chinese New Year. Before, no, it's sweet all the way. Hence the rise of type 2 diabetics. No, okay. Yeah, Dragon Ball Festival, exactly. I remember Jones's did that. I'm sorry, guys. We're like digressing massively. We were supposed to talk about Chinese New Year campaigns, and we start talking loads about food. It's not wasted because food is, I said at the beginning, right? It's the biggest part of Chinese culture. So it's important to know about Chinese food. Okay, so let's talk about campaigns. Let's talk about red envelopes first. So a lot of red envelopes you see will be traditionally red, and that's how most red envelopes are. And that's why they're called red envelopes, aka Hongbao, which literally means red packet or red envelopes filled with money. So in 2014, WeChat launched a digital Hongbao, and you mentioned it earlier, Pearl. I think especially now with people being away from each other, it's difficult for people to always hand one physically to each other face to face. So I think the digital version worked really well. I think it kind of lacks like the traditional kind of tactile feeling, and also someone actually mentioned earlier the tradition you get of like refusing a Hongbao, because if you get one digitally, you can't, who is it said? Oh yeah, Eileen said, still remember the feeling of pretending to refuse the money but actually dying for them. That's so true. Everyone always refuses it so much. Like when you receive one digitally, you can't just like refuse it, right? You just accept it and say thank you very much. So you lose a lot of like cultural nuance when you have a digital version. So I think a lot of brands leverage this. They try to send red envelopes to their customers or to their clients. What I want you guys to really think about is that just because it's called a red envelope, it doesn't have to be red. So I want to give you guys a few examples of this, like from marketing execution. The first one is from for one of our clients. This was the year of the dog for Mapping and Web. So we did a really modern execution. We actually created an overarching creative called Start a New Tradition. It's about coming over to the UK. It was targeting I believe it was targeting the Chinese people outside of China coming over to start their own tradition. So whether they're like a student or an expat who's a doctor or like an engineer or whatever, they're starting their own family, they're starting their own traditions. It's kind of like the aimed at a younger generation. So we created a Start New Tradition campaign. And the idea was to kind of respect traditional elements, such as the dog. And you can see like around the edges, all the pattern really resonating, gives customers resonance of Chinese New Year, but it's still like a very modern execution. So it's very line focused, very clean, less busy, which is traditionally you see on Chinese New Year red envelopes. We also created another version, which was blue. So there was a red version and a blue version. I think in the end, we actually decided to go with the blue version. This was sent to all of the VIP customers. And as Pearl said earlier, with like offers and discounts and vouchers inside rather than cash. It would be inappropriate to give customers cash. But this is an example of how you can execute red envelope without being too almost kind of like cliche. I think a lot of people go down the route of being like trying to respect tradition of red envelopes and red envelope design too much that they become very cliche. So the balance needs to be found here. I want to show you guys a few other examples on the next slide. So this is what I was saying earlier. Red envelope doesn't always have to be red, right? Like especially nowadays. So you can see we started doing this. We actually can't find the one from 2017, but we started doing this in 2015, where we created a Chinese New Year box with a custom illustration from Qumin to wish our clients and all of our friends Happy New Year. We send them a box with really cool Chinese snacks in. And we also have a custom designed red packet for everyone that's part of Qumin. Stuffed with cash, obviously, and some of these are not red. You can see like the one from 2018 Year of Dog is green, and the one from Year of Pig is purple. So we try to pick a different color every year, and these are gold foiled as well. So they're like custom design. They're printed, and also they're gold foiled as well. So really think about this, guys. Maybe take this inspiration when you're thinking about your Chinese campaign. How you can like. So you can see they have a balance of respecting tradition, i.e. they have the animals, they also have the Chinese New Year greeting, which is normally 4 words, which includes a year as well. Also have the animal represented, but kind of in a more modern, fun, illustrative way. So you guys can think about this on how you can like switch up your campaign just to be a bit more just to be a bit, I guess, a bit more different. Mixing traditional and modernity.
Yeah, I think this is a really like a genius idea because, well, to be honest, that although right they represent like excitement, all the traditional concept here, but to be honest, that red and gold they are very striking colors, and I think of that will people during that Chinese New Year period that we can come across hundreds of red and golden items and posters a day. So if you're like envelope is featuring different colors, and it can really help you to stand out.
Yeah, exactly. Just make sure like you have a balance of respecting traditional traditional elements and also adding modernity as well. So don't go too far the one way or don't go too far the other way. Try and find a nice balance. We got some questions here, Pearl. Let's go through them. Why do people refuse an envelope? That's a really good question. Why?
I think this is culture reason that we want to be polite.
Yes, exactly. I think that's right. I think that's literally it. It's just that people want to be polite and they want to show that they're polite. So refusing the money is kind of like saying, oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. But it's kind of the same as like when you go out for a meal and you fight for the bill, right? Like sometimes people have literal fights of like, like, let me pay. No, let me pay. And it's not an argument. But it's just a way to be polite to each other. And refusing the red envelope, I think there's like a tradition where you had to refuse it like a couple of times or something before you can accept it, right?
Yeah, yes, exactly. And also that actually sending money as a gift is very, sensitive and cautious in China. And the Chinese New Year is probably one of the very few occasions that people feel comfortable to gifting like money to each other.
Yeah, exactly. It's very traditional. Dominic, question, no problem. What other group preparation activities would be good apart from preparing dumplings and other food? Good question. Fireworks, I guess, traditionally. What do you think, Pearl?
Watching the New Year Eve gala.
Yes, yes. So I think someone asked earlier, do you still watch the New Year Eve gala?
Yes.
Yes, that's a really good one as well. Gambling. That is so true. Mahjong, like everyone plays Mahjong in Chinese New Year. Like they would play it like for hours and hours and hours. Old people would play. And you would have more than one table sometimes because there's always so many people in a household. So you might have two tables.
Yes.
And you have shifts, like one family. This is actually really interesting. You guys should really be like all of this stuff is really cultural nuance I can put in marketing campaigns. You can have shifts. So for example, like my auntie would play for a while and then she would rest. And then my uncle would come in and tag in and then play in her seat. Like all of this stuff is like really, really like, it's just like, oh yeah. So Artem, hi, welcome to the live stream. So Julie, thank you for linking that Nike campaign. It's a really good example of how to take just one of these cultural nuance and turn it into a whole campaign. So they focus the whole campaign around refusing the red envelopes. So imagine you had a campaign, right, around the idea of playing mahjong and switching shifts between uncles and aunties. And also like trying to switch luck or something. Sometimes we'll be like, oh, you're unlucky, get off the table, let me play, or something like that. Like all of these things are really good insights how you can create campaigns from. So just, yeah, make sure you guys are asking these questions and trying to draw this information out of us. That's why we're here. One more question. Oscar, do young people resonate with red envelopes in terms of using them for online campaigns? Good question. Good question. What do you think, Pearl?
Yes, for sure, definitely. Who doesn't love red envelope?
Yeah, I think everyone, even young people, they grow up with red envelopes. I don't think parents have stopped giving red envelopes, right? Even now, it's still like a big thing in China. Yeah. It's never going to expire. Miley, red envelope is a family thing. You don't really give it for business occasions unless the first day after CNY back to work, or you just open a new business doing campaign before some coupons were inside it. Yeah, I guess if you're a business, you can give it to your customers where it's not cash. It's quite inappropriate, I think, to give your customers cash in a red envelope. But I think it's also not just family. I know in China, like normally bosses, like heads of companies or managers always give red envelopes to their employees. That's very, very traditional as well. Okay, cool. Should we move on? Let's move on. Let's move on to the next thing. Red envelopes, brand examples. Okay, cool. Let's talk about some executions, campaigns. That's not just videos. So this one is this is an example from this is Scan to Fortune is from Alipay, right? I remember this one where you have to go and hunt all the food signs, and then you get like rewards based on how many you find. Do we have a video for this, guys? I think we've written about this. I think we've written about this on one of our articles on DAO. So okay. So we're gonna link the campaign first, but before we do that, we just want to talk about the tradition of Fu. And I think there was a campaign about it in it was mention of it in the Airbnb campaign, as some of you saw last time. So people normally hand the Fu upside down, right? Which means kind of like Fu Dao, or Dao Fu is like upside down, but also it means like fortune has arrived. So why don't you maybe, Paul, you can tell us a bit more about like paper cuttings and stickers and strips outside the door and stuff, like all the traditions around those. I think it's still happening even like modern buildings and sky rises, and people are still doing a lot of the Chinese decoration stuff.
Yes, and I think this is really just like the Christmas tree for the Christmas that even it's 2021 that we still doing this Chinese decoration, and I think that it's those decorations, for example, this full signs and the couplets that really symbolize the concept of Chinese New Year, that togetherness, the excitement, and the people hoping for the good fortune for the new year. So yes, I guess that it really doesn't matter like in in next 10 years or 20 years, this is still something that we will focus on the Chinese New Year. And I think all those could be inspiration for the brand to leverage for the campaign to make the people feel more resonate with your brand.
Yeah, so an example of this, an example of how this has been leveraged, because you honestly, like Pearl said, it's everywhere. Like shops, they hand it outside shops, obviously outside office buildings, but also outside people's homes as well. So like throughout the Chinese New Year period, people come across so many iteration of the fortune sign or the fool sign. So what Alipay did in 2016 was really smart and really interesting. Again, they took this cultural nuance and they turned it into a campaign to engage with their users. So what they did was that you can use your phone camera to scan the fool sign that you come across during Chinese New Year. So like it can be any way. It can be typed, it can be handwritten, it can be calligraphy. Obviously, like cameras, AI is good enough to recognize when there's a fool sign these days. And once you scan it, a red envelope appears in the Alipay app, and it reviews one of 5 randomly allocated Chinese blessings. So that's dedication, harmony, patriotism, prosperity, and friendship. And what you have to do is, it's kind of like a puzzle, a collection puzzle. You have to collect. You have to collect all five of them. And then once you get all 5 of them, once you get the whole set, you get into like a raffle or something, right? You get into the Alipay raffle. So it's a really fun way to get people engaging with the Alipay app, reminding them of the brand presence, but also really putting the app and the brand at the center of everything, at the center of like the Chinese New Year celebrations. It's really like a woman situation. There's some other interesting stats here that thank you, Louisa and Emily Miranda, for preparing for us. Really interesting. In 2019, 500 million RMB cash plus extra bonuses, such as full reimbursements and loans incurred on Hubei, where the pot was shared in the new year. So in 2020, 318 million users participated in the campaign. So you can see like how popular it was and how important it is, and how it can really help to drive the success of your campaign, to integrate your campaign into something that's cultural specific and very cultural nuanced to do with Chinese New Year. And, you know, like, I don't want to be too negative, but you see so many campaigns just putting out like a happy Chinese New Year message. And honestly, if you're going to do that, I would just rather probably advise you just not to do anything at all, because it can be seen as like almost as a disrespect, right? If you're just like too simple or too lazy with your campaigns.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know one thing that I feel pretty impressed by this Scanfu like activity is how many like engagement they generated with the senior people and the people in lower tier cities. Well, I read a news saying that there was 17 million like what we call the great population participate in this campaign from the first year, like in 2016, and the figure is significantly increased every year. So I think this really bring a interesting point is nowadays when we talk about digital campaigns and marketing, we always talk about how to like engage with millennials, younger generations, and Gen Z. And actually those senior people group, they are really powerful and they represent a huge economy. And the senior people, I think that the pandemic last year has accelerated the senior people shop digitally. So I would say that lots of the senior people that they are very sophisticated, like place order in social commerce and spend time on Weibo and WeChat. So for brand, if you targeting those group, for example, if you supplements, if you healthy food, if you like a luxury brand specialized on cashmere, and this is a good opportunity for you to create a direct conversation and a dialogue with those, you know, the senior people, rather than speak to their children's group and let them to buy things for them, because they are fully capable to purchase online on their own. So I think this Scanfu, it's a really good, I mean, format for people if you want to, you know, engage with that group.
Yeah, and I think they're always overlooked as consumers, right? Because people think they're not digitally savvy, but actually in China, they are very digitally savvy and they get involved. So don't forget about that audience group and how you can connect with them on a more meaningful way. There's a few other interesting things here as well. Again, thanks to the team for highlighting. So apparently it's actually not very easy to collect the whole set, and sometimes you can end up with like 20 of the ones that you don't want and then none of the ones you do want. So it encourages people to scan more and get involved more. Apparently you can also give food to your friends or receive food for watering Ant Forest's virtual trees, which connects the sustainability application and also brings Ant Forest into the campaign as well. You can also scan participating brands logos like Starbucks, China Mobile. So this also brings like the whole the Alipay ecosystem as they're using to pay like various products or services. They can also like participate in the campaign at the same time, or as they're participating in the campaign, they can also use Alipay to pay for different products and services. So this is really cool. Question. Okay, cool. I think we're running out of time. We gotta smash through this really quickly. Sarah, should C1 content be only for China, or is it worth sharing with other audiences in other Asian countries like Korea, etc.? It's a really good question. What do you think, Pearl?
Well, I think it's really depends on which market that you focus on. If you focus on China, and then I would suggest you to bespoke a campaign for China. But if you also like targeting other Asian countries, I would suggest you to have a different like campaign for different like market.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. I think if you're looking to target other countries for Chinese New Year or the Spring Festival, I believe it's called in other countries, then Tom, thank you very much. Yeah, Malaysia, Hong Kong, South Korea, Taiwan. Like, just make sure you research the local traditions and cultures, and don't do like one Chinese New Year campaign for all of the Asian countries. Try and do one individual. Either focus on one, like your most important market or your most important audience, or do like different ones if you have the budget and resources for different countries and different places. Okay, cool. We're going to move really quickly on. We're going to talk a little bit more about Trunlian or Couplets, I believe it's called. Maybe we can just very quickly talk about that. Pearl, maybe you can give us like your wisdom, your Chinese perspective on this very quickly, and we'll move on to the next thing.
Okay, sure. Well, I think this is a very difficult. This couplets like require a high standard of creativity. This is something that very challenging even for the native Chinese speakers. They just like now everyone here can make the sonnet. But I think a good couplets like campaign, they need to master the balance between branding, creativity, and the localization. And ideally that you could involve your brand elements into the couplets as possible. This is something that you definitely need to come to a agency, local agency that like them to helping you to come up with a good campaign.
Yeah, and this is you're 100% right. This is a very, very, very creative thing. So it's kind of like, I would say maybe it's the equivalent of writing like a tagline in a creative campaign, like an ad campaign in the West, right? But it's more focused specifically on Chinese New Year. So it's kind of like poems where you're creating rhymes, or like you're creating rhythm between the two things. So what you say in the first couplet should obviously like match and resonate what you say in the second couplet. It's basically like a lot of it is basically copywriting, but this is your opportunity as a brand to create something that resonates, that basically finds a magic sweet spot. Imagine a Venn diagram. The overlap is what audience cares about and what you and what the brand cares about. And it just so happens in Chinese New Year, or the audience care about Chinese New Year, and they're used to seeing Trunlian or like spring couplets. And then the brand, you can talk about what you want them to remember about you as a brand and what the brand stands for. So this is actually something, whereas the previous Alipay execution, that's kind of technology focused, might be too late for you guys to develop. But this is something you can develop very quickly in a very short amount of time. And it also kind of like really gives your audience a meaningful way of engaging with your campaign as well. So yeah, if you're interested, drop us a line. Like I know our copywriters have done a lot of this in the past. So this is something that's really interesting, and I think it was definitely worth talking about. Question. Justine, welcome to the stream. So if you only have the budget for one campaign for Asian market, would you recommend referring to Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year instead? What do you mean? As in, what would you? I think. Oh, one campaign for the whole of the Asian market. What do you think, Pearl? Probably Lunar New Year, right?
Yes, yes. But for the whole Asian market, it's definitely the second term. It's more appropriate.
Yeah, I think so. Because yeah, obviously Chinese New Year is kind of very specific to China.
Yes.
How do you use CNY Chow? Hello. How do you CNY campaign to attract more followers on our social media accounts? WeChat Red. This is a good question. But also, we could be here for hours talking about this.
Yeah, so speak to Arnold after this.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like there's a few things you can do. How do you use CNY campaign to attract more followers? Okay, so what you could do is really focus on Chinese New Year. So what you want to do is probably focus on, like, just very briefly, focus on content around Chinese New Year. So try and create content to give people a reason to share. So nostalgia, there's a reason why a lot of ad campaigns use nostalgia, because that's something that people connect with personally and which makes them want to share and like and follow and so on, all of those engagement metrics that we care so much about. So try and create videos, maybe, like, I'm just thinking out loud, maybe some sketches of like what Chinese New Year was like for your audience when they were young. So let's say your audience are in their 30s to 40s now. Try and create some sketches of what it can be cartoon, it can be simple, like whatever, of what Chinese New Year was like for them when they were young. That's just one example. But think about the content that will resonate with your audience and then amplify that content using paid social. That's probably the best way to attract followers. Okay, cool. Let's move on to short videos. Short videos. I love short videos. I think short videos is honestly the future of marketing. Like, think about how much. Okay, so like short video is pretty popular right now. Like, we all have TikTok and we all know what Douyin is. But if you think the proportion of content that's currently on the internet, or the proportion of people creating content that are text and image based, and the proportion that are creating content that's video based, we're still at very much the tip of the iceberg. So over the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to see a massive rise on short video. Maybe Pearl, do you want to get started and talk a bit about short video and what short video is like in China?
Well, I mean, for short video, I'm literally focused on the Chinese New Year. That I think it's really important to set the tone of your video. Personally, I think it should be either meaningful or cheerful, or ideally that it should include both. Well, I actually really like the Barcelona one that you have did. I think this is kind of a textbook example for Chinese New Year short video, because it really tell about the authentic stories. Well, to be honest, Chinese New Year, that we talk about family, love, this very human topics, and it can be challenged to bring those broad concepts to life. And it's really, sometimes it could be difficult to symbolize those big concepts into small details. But I think in your Barcelona videos, there's one narrative that I feel very impressive. That is in the beginning, that the little boy, that they see all the adults are busy in the preparation, and he felt like being ignored and a little bit sad. And I feel like this is so true. This is literally how everyone feel like when we were little. So I think this capture of this emotion has set a really good example of how the authentic narratives should be presented in Chinese New Year video.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. That's 100% right. It's like kind of making people feel something. But I want to talk a bit specifically actually about how you guys can leverage this opportunity last minute to try and create some short videos. So first of all, we're trying to shift towards more of a creator collaboration concept, where we're essentially getting creators to create videos rather than us doing high production video in-house, which takes months, loads of planning, and you never know whether it's going to resonate or not. So rather than doing that, think about, and you can get in touch with us. Like, we've had a lot of success with brands creating collaboration content with creators. So this is not about influencer marketing, right? Because influencer marketing is you getting them to say something about your brand on their channels. A creator collaboration is about working with a creator to create content about the situation or the festival, i.e. Chinese New Year, and then posting your own channels to help you grow your own followers. So going back to the question earlier, I believe it was from Julie about growing fans. This is another way to do that. So you can collaborate with a creator to make some content for your channel about Chinese New Year, about your specific brand or sector or industry, and then post on your content. So there's a good example from Perfect Diary. We can actually show this video because the video is uploaded, but just quickly describe it. Actually, should we show the video? Let's show the video, yeah?
过年涂什么口红才不会输？大年初一拜年涂208正红色，年初二见亲友涂102梅香制茶色，年初三打麻将涂103梅调红色，年初四相亲涂901粉棕色，年初五同学聚会涂704棕调豆沙色。年初六偶遇前男友涂104红棕色，年初七上班，全公司没有一个人值得我涂口红。
抖音。
过年涂什么口红才不会输
Sorry, I'm just going to pause that. So for those of you that speak Chinese, this is just a girl showing. This is a collaboration with Perfect Diary, which is a Chinese makeup brand, doing super well, really great at marketing. And it's just a video of a girl showing like the lipstick, different color lipstick she wears on different days. So the first day, for example, the first day is a classic red lipstick to visit the close family. Second day, she says she wore a peach red lipstick for seeing friends or extended family. Third day, what was that? Cerise red lipstick for playing mahjong. The fourth day, pink brown for blind day, and the fifth day, red bean lipstick for classmate party. So you can see this is like, it's like really lo-fi, really quickly produced video that probably took someone, I don't know,
3 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe not even that just to make, right? So this is like some last minute stuff that you guys can really think about, like creator collaborations. If you're thinking about that, get in touch with us. I believe we can put a link on how to do that very shortly. There's also some other ones, like the Oppo ones, very high, but a lot of brands do like really high production value stuff as well. But I think given the time frame that you guys have, something more social, more lo-fi, and more creative collaboration is probably the best execution for now. Okay, cool. We're really running out of time. So there was a lot more stuff that we want to talk about, though. Let's go to part 3. There we go. Get in touch here. So if you guys have any questions about some of the stuff we talked about, whether it's around how to do creator collaborations, what you can do last minute as a brand, or even like stuff we were talking earlier about Trinlian, which I think is a really cool last minute campaign idea, just get in touch and someone will be more than happy to speak to you and walk you through some of the options. Okay, should we move on to part 3, Pearl? Yeah?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's go to part 3. Okay, so we're going to skip all of this stuff. Part 3. Creating standout last minute campaigns with you guys. Okay, I hope you guys have really all thought about what you want us to do and how you can really like make us sweat by giving us a really difficult brief that we have to answer right now with no prior preparation. I'm kind of looking forward to it and kind of really nervous, but it's okay. So first of all, everyone get ready to vote. We're going to have our final poll, which is what kind of campaign you want us to create. The poll should be coming up right now. Red envelope, scam fortune, short video, or meaningful message. Let's vote, guys. What are we gonna do? What poll? What campaign are we gonna create? While you guys are waiting for the poll and voting on the poll, please think about the brief you want to give us. So it can be your own brand, it can be one of your friends' brand. Just think about the kind of brand you want us to create on, and then we will do some brainstorming with all of you guys. Okay, there we go. The poll's ready, guys. Get ready to vote. Red envelope, scam fortune, short videos, or meaningful message. Short video, steaming ahead. It's like the favorite to win. I love videos as well. I think videos are a really great way to communicate a message across. Okay, so looks like anyone haven't voted, please vote now. It looks like short video is still winning, 56%. Racing ahead. It's going to win. I don't think anything's going to catch up. Okay, so short video. All right, guys. Does anyone have please in the chat, anyone have an idea? Frederick the Poe is on. You should be able to vote now. Sorry, it took a little while for us to get that up. Anyone else haven't voted? Please vote. But while we're waiting for that, please, anyone has any brands that they want us to think about? We need a brand, basically. We need a brand. We need like some kind of a brief, and then we'll try and create. We'll just throw out some ideas and see what everyone thinks. Don't be shy, guys. Come on, give us a brand. Think about something. It can be your own brand. It can even be like a B2B brand. It doesn't matter. It can be anything. Coca-Cola. It's a good idea. I like it. Coca-Cola has
furniture brand.
A lot of scope. A furniture brand.
Furniture.
Tila AdTech, my own brand. Tourism attraction in London. Interesting. Any specific tourist attraction you're thinking of, Dominic? Trump Tower is something for customers domestically. I love that. I want to renew their fortunes abroad.
Natural products for skincare. Wow.
John, natural product for skincare. Some good ideas. French architect studio engaging with Chinese customers. Interesting. Okay, Pearl, what do you think?
Let's go with the natural products for the skincare.
Natural product, my expertise.
Yeah, your expertise.
Okay, cool. Student accommodation provider. Okay, let's go. You know what, guys? Let's education language school in Cambridge and the university. Okay, cool. You know what? We can do a couple. Let's do the skincare one first. Skincare short video. Okay, Pearl, go on. Do you have any idea?
Well, actually, I have some really good idea for this natural products for skincare, because I just mentioned the social pressures for girls for Chinese New Year. Yes. So let's do a video to say that ladies to shake off your like social pressures. But because it's very last minute, right? I think it's less about doing like a really high production value video, because we don't have time for that. So I think maybe think about, so if you're a skincare brand, think about the type of creators you want to work with, whether they're talking about skincare or whether they're talking about makeup. So go to those creators who are creating content that are very relevant with your brand and say to them, can you create a video for us? You know, it's short video, right? We're talking about 30 seconds on Douyin. Or maybe like create a series of videos of recommended skincare routine during Chinese New Year. Yes. The morning routine of Chinese New Year after stay up all night.
Yeah, like maybe like this is my routine for preparing to play mahjong, or my routine for post mahjong, or something like that, or my routine for like eating loads of greasy food. Because you might eat loads of oily food during Chinese New Year, like your diet might not be as good as you normally, because you basically eat what you want. So like there's already like 2 series you can do on. You can do like one series on like skincare based on your diet, like how to cater for like a not as good diet as you normally would, and maybe like another routine for like, I don't know, like visiting, or another routine for like gambling and going out and having fun. Also, like, I guess if your audience is a bit younger, they might go out for Chinese New Year. So like a routine for like a night out or something like that. Creator campaigns like these are really quick ways of creating content that will truly resonate with your audience, but also like put your brand at the center of the conversation. Should we do one more, Pearl?
Yes. Let's do that.
Okay. Wait, just before we do that, Reed, possibly to give a good idea that Chinese brands are quality, unlike the misconception that Chinese product. This is really interesting. Unlike misconception that Chinese is cheap, which is known as traders who import cheap products from China are to blame. That's so true, actually. Chinese quality should be marketed more. Quality and value can be delivered from China. It's a very good point. I think you can find like bad quality product and good quality product from anywhere in the world, right? Like it's just like people always say, there's good people and bad people wherever you go. It's like it just depends on like what you buy and what you're looking for, whether it's good quality stuff or bad quality stuff. If target audience is Tom's always got some amazing ideas. If target audience is women in their 20s and 30s, hashtag no filter for CNY. I love this. Host live stream with female entrepreneurs and business leaders on how they have showing ox-like strength to grow their business or progress their careers. Man, Tom, you shouldn't be giving this stuff away for free. This is a fucking great idea. So guys, if you're a skincare brand, this is an absolutely amazing idea. And I think it's really, it's really topical as well, right?
It's the trending topic for females in China, how to be independent, how to be like career focused, and how to just be you.
Tom, the Chinese female perspective to come up with this. That's really amazing. Honestly, really impressed. Chow, I found short videos are more likely to engage with the audience to discuss and share. We're a luxury travel company. What campaigns would you recommend to do? Ooh, luxury travel company. That's a tough one.
Yes. Well, let's do that. But I think for the very last minutes, I think we can start it from like meaningful message, or just a post, a series of content in social media. But because I think for the luxury or travel company, well, traditionally, the Chinese New Year, people travel for their families. And this year with the current travel restriction, this is actually a very good point for you to come up with meaningful like message and to make people feel resonate more than ever. This is a very good timing actually for you to do the content in social media for Chinese New Year.
So you mean like tapping into what's happened this year and maybe like the lack of travel that people had the opportunity to do?
Yes. Yes. So for personally, I think it might be a series of content that you put in your social media, but make sure that you have a good incentives, maybe the vouchers for people that can use in the next 6 months, like booking with you, and you can have your point saying that the staying home this year is for a better departure of next year, those sort of thing.
Cool. Okay. Okay, guys. So we need to wrap up now. I don't want to keep you guys for too long, and we've been here for more than an hour. I wish we could do this longer. I wish we could just have like more casual chats because it's been really fun. And first of all, I want to thank Pearl. Thanks for your insights from a Chinese perspective, and also all of your marketing insights and strategic advice. So thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to have you back soon on the BYOB live stream. I want to thank Louisa, Miranda, Emily for organizing all the stuff you see popping up at the behind, the video, the slides, all the pop-ups, the insights. You guys absolutely smashed it. It's been awesome. And I want to thank all of you guys, the audience, for coming here, because it will be a pretty shitty event if you guys weren't here to make it awesome. So thank you guys. We love you all. Check out DAO Insights for all of the news daily and also all of the case studies. Guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay positive. And we'll see you on the next live stream.
Yeah, one more sentence from me. So I think
Sorry.
Yeah, so no, I mean, so I think Chinese consumer have high expectation for the culture sensitive of Chinese New Year campaign. So make sure that to have an experienced local team, creative team to propose the campaign for you, and to make sure that the campaign brings strong chemistry to your Chinese consumer. So speak to Arnold after this.
Thank you, Pearl. I appreciate that. I'll see you next time, Pearl. Yeah. And
All right, cool.
guys, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.